Simon Says Stamp, Simon's mama, I like to say. If you're joining today and you're a crafter, you're going to want to tune in for the best hacks with Gina K's Intri-cut machine. Many people right now are doing die cutting with paper and embossing, letterpress, better press, there are all kinds of dies available on the market today. And Gina's machine is my favorite, and here's why. The user can adjust the dials and the depths without making a bunch of different recipes to cater to whatever product you're running through that machine, whether it's an embossing folder, a die, a letterpress, anything really. Well, within reason for paper crafting, right? So lucky for us, we are being joined live with Gina K from Gina K Designs. Gina, welcome to the studio. Thank you for joining us
Hey,
today.
Heidi.
Hello.
We've got our uniforms on again.
We do. Yes, Gina and I went shopping together. Can you tell?
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
We're so silly. We need to get a new uniform for next time.
Okay, deal.
Next time we're together.
When you're in town next week, we'll go shopping. I like that.
Sounds
good.
Go
to Crystal Store and but we can talk about die cutting. I'm sorry, and embossing.
I want to talk about shopping. Just kidding.
Well,
hey everybody.
One thing about shopping, which I haven't mentioned yet, is Gina has very graciously designed an exclusive product for you guys who are watching while supplies last. And it is called Happy Birthday Present. It is an exclusive die. Oh, Gina, we can go here.
Oh, let's do a little happy shot here.
Cute.
Let me move over. So how do you get this exclusive die? Well, all you need to do is place $25 in product order at simonsaystamp.com, and it will automatically be added to your order. Again, any Gina K product, that includes all the really popular ThermoWeb products too, and it will automatically be added to people's orders while supplies last. So Gina, what would you like to start with demonstrating, or how do you want to start?
Yeah, I would love to. Well, first of all, I have to say I am in love with the way this die came out. I provided the artwork for Simon, and their amazing artists made it happen as a die. And I love the way it came out. And I'm a little disappointed now that it's not in my collection and it's over. I'm just kidding. Well, hello, everybody. It is so great to be here on the Simon Says Stamp YouTube channel with my bestie, Heidi Crowell. Today, I'm going to show you all different kinds of things that you can do with the Intri-cut, including how to set it up when you get it out of the box. And also, I want to talk quite a bit about 3D embossing, because that's where I think there's a lot of confusion on exactly how to do 3D embossing folders. So we're going to get into that too. Plus, I'm going to show you how to use the silicone mat, which is an add-on to the Intri-cut. But you can do things with the silicone mat that just really stretch the supplies you already have in your collection. So let's get started talking about the Intri-cut machine. So here she is, the Intri-cut, and Tom, you can put me in you could do the overhead for me. Here she is, the Intri-cut. Now, when you get her out of the box, we get phone calls about this all the time. People are very upset because they didn't get a handle. But actually, the handle is inside one of the 2 drawers. So if you'll notice, when this machine opens up, you push these sides in, there are 2 storage drawers, one on either side, where you can store your most used dies and some other supplies, especially if you like to take your machine traveling. And the handle will be stored inside that drawer. Now, it's very easy. I'm going to open this again because one of the cool things about the Intri-cut is there are these kind of suction cups on the bottom, and they're okay, to move it all around when you're not using it. But when you open these flaps, it sucks the Intri-cut to your hard surface, which makes it easier to use because the machine's not twisting all around while you're trying to use it. So I'm going to open these up. Let me make sure it's straight there in the picture. Okay, and then you're going to open it and press it in, and open this side and press it in. Now the handle is super easy to use. There's a little notch right here that you're going to just pull down on, and that's going to allow the handle to snap in. When you want to pack it up and you don't want the handle to be in the way, you just pull that same little notch down, and then you pull the handle off and you can put it back inside of your drawer. So I'm going to put it in the drawer for a minute so that we can talk about the dials on this machine. So this machine, like Heidi said earlier, one of the cool things about it is it's not a very complicated machine to use because it has these two dials. The first dial is going to determine whether you're die cutting, 2D embossing, letterpress, or 3D embossing. Now, that 3D embossing can be a little bit tricky because not all embossing folders are created equal. And I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But then down here, we've got this button that says press and twist. When you press it and twist to the right, it's righty-tighty, okay? And then when you press and go to the left, it's lefty-loosey. So when you go left, it'll loosen up the sandwich. When you go right, it will tighten up the sandwich. And that means you don't need to have 1,000 pieces of cardstock and chipboard and all kinds of other shims and trying to remember and keep track of everything. If your impression isn't what you want or your intricate die isn't cutting, you just tighten it up a little bit. Or if you're trying to push a 3D embossing folder in that's a little thicker than some, you just loosen it a little bit. So that's what we're going to go through today. So I'm going to start on die cut because I'm going to demonstrate how easy it is to die cut on this machine. And I'm going to open this back up again and put my handle back on. I love that it's got storage drawers in here because it's just so nice to be able to store those dies that you use a lot. And it's great for travel if you like to travel with your equipment. Okay. The other thing that comes with the machine are 3 plates. So you're going to get your platform. Now this is not your cutting surface, and it says right on here, this is not a cutting surface. That being said, if you ever cut on here, don't worry about it. It's not going to damage it. It's not going to, ruin the integrity of the machine. It's just over time, if this gets really chewed up, it could leave some impressions in your cardstock. Once or twice, not a big deal, but you know what our plates start to look like after a while. So you only want to cut into the cutting mat. And this cutting mat comes with your Intri-cut. Now it's recommended with the Intri-cut that when you're cutting, each time you cut or emboss, that you flip the mat over so that you give even pressure to both sides of the mat, and that's going to help expand the lifespan of this mat. However, cutting mats are consumable products. Over time, just like your cutting mats from any machine that you've had in the past, they will start to warp. You can flatten them out by putting them in the hottest tap water that you can for a little bit to soften it up. You can flex it back into shape and then put something heavy on it for it to dry and cool. But just like any cutting plate, over time, you will have to replace this. So this is a consumable and it is sold separately. It comes with the machine, but then you can buy these just separately. Then you also get an adapter plate, and most people probably today won't use this adapter plate. However, a lot of you have some of the bigger dies from the past, the steel ruled dies. They're different than the acid etched dies, the thin wafer thin dies that we have today. The steel ruled dies are these big old Sizzix and I think Lifestyle Crafts, Quick Cuts, made these big dies. A lot of my school teacher friends will have these. And they're cool dies. I mean, they do cool things, and a lot of people probably have them in their collection. So we did include an adapter plate for these so that you can continue to use these with our machine. And I will quickly demonstrate how to do this as well. Okay. So there's also 2 options for the machine. One option is the silicone mat, and this is going to allow you to do some really cool techniques other than just die cutting and embossing. This is going to allow you to emboss with your stencils, so you can use your stencils like an embossing folder, and it's really going to stretch those supplies. It also is going to allow you to make an impression with your dies instead of cutting with your dies. So if you have a cool cover plate like this one or anything, you can do an impression and make it look like an embossing folder. Now, it doesn't look quite embossed. The lines are a lot sharper, but it's definitely a cool look and another way to stretch your supplies. Then you can also, if you prefer, you can pick up our replacement magnetic cutting plates. So these plates are going to take the place of this plate. Okay, they're a little thinner, so it does require 2 plates instead of the 1. But this is for my friends who like a magnetic plate so that you don't have to tape down your dies. Now, this plate wears out a little faster than the cutting mat that comes with it, and only because you can only cut on the gray side. You can't cut on the magnet side. It says here this is not a cutting surface. So it will curl over time, just like any cutting mat, but because you can't flip it over, it's going to do it in about half the time. But it's a fantastic mat for certain types of die cutting. So when you're die cutting your coordinating dies or your greeting dies, I like to use this mat for that. For my standalone dies, I like to use this mat because it doesn't matter if they shift a little bit, right? But here it really does matter when you're doing a word or you're doing a matching stamp and die combo. So I like to use this one for that. It doesn't wear it out quite as quickly. And then my big dies, my more intricate cover plates, things like that, my master layouts, I use this cutting plate. But this is available, and I believe Simon has all of these now. So you can pick those up if you're interested. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to go back 200 years to when the steel ruled dies were popular, and I want to show you how to use this.
200 years.
So 200 years, the very first dies that ever came out. Let me find my little cheat sheet here because I wrote down all of my little sandwiches, and I want to make sure that I don't mess anything up. And I promise you guys that what I am going to do is I am going to purchase just about every major stamp company's 3D embossing folders, and I want to go through them and figure out the exact sandwich and make a little PDF. And once I do that, I will also send that over to Simon Says Stamps so they can have that and they can share that with you. All right, so when you're using the old dinosaurs, what you want to do is you want to eliminate your base plate. You don't need your base plate anymore. And what you're going to do is take your cutting mat. You're going to put your cutting mat down. You're going to take a piece of cardstock. Let me grab a little scrap here. And then you're going to put your die side, the part where the blade comes out, die side down onto your cutting mat. And then I have my dial set for die cutting. And then I'm going to increase the pressure for the Sizzix ones up by 2. Now that came from trial and error. I tried it. Up by 2 worked great, so I moved it up by 2. But, you know, depending on the die, it might be different for your machine. You know, if you're using a lifestyle one or a quick cuts one. All right, and then I'm going to run this through the machine. And this is just a tag die, very old Sizzix die. I don't even know where I got this one, honestly. But you can see how that cuts. So basically with these dies, the steel rule, the steel blade comes out from the pressure and then sinks back into this felt material. So that's how easy it is to do steel ruled dies. And yes, I know we've already put marks in our new cutting plate. So devastating. Now, with a regular die, I like to, especially if I'm doing a coordinating stamp, I like to put this plate on the bottom. But if I'm just doing a regular die, like our new birthday die, you can put the plate on the top. So, because you always have to have the blade touching the plate, right? So it's always got to be touching the plate. So when you have a coordinating die where you've got a stamped image, you're going to want to be able to line it up, tape it down, do your thing. So I do that right on the platform, and then I, right on the base, and then I put the platform right on top and run it through. But when I'm using a standalone die, I do it the opposite way. I have my platform laying there. I put my die down blade side up, and then I take a piece of cardstock. See how I turned it just a little bit? Anytime you have a square like this, a squared off angle, it'll always go through any die cutting machine better if you turn it on an angle. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a physicist out there that could tell us the physics behind that, but it really works. So this is blade side up, cardstock on top, and then my cutting mat. And that blade's going to cut upward into the cutting mat. And I'm going to cut this. Now, if you don't feel enough pressure, you can always go back and add a little bit more tension to it. And I might do that just to be 100% safe. I might turn that dial up a little bit more because it is a rather intricate die, and cut it one more time. And again, the beauty of this is once you figure out a good sandwich for your die, you can write it down and just store it with your die, and then just pull it out and say, oh, die cutting and tension up to 4, die cutting and tension up to 2 or -2, whatever works best for you. And then I'm going to pop this out, and you can see how cool this die is. This is so fun. Look how nice that cut. So no matter how intricate your die is, you're going to get a great cut because you can dial up the tension, and that makes it so much easier than, trying to figure out how many slices of cardstock you need on top. That's kind of a pain, and it's hard to remember. And you certainly, you can't really use that cardstock over and over again because the fibers get all stretched out. So it doesn't work the same way every time. So having the dial makes a huge difference. Now let's talk about embossing folders. So 2D embossing folders are very simple on the Intri-cut. All you're going to do is, let me close this up again. I'm going to move this out of the way. All right, so all you're going to do, can you hear the feet letting go, is you're going to turn the dial up, straight up and down to letterpress or 2D embossing, okay? Put this back down. All right. Now, I like to use anywhere between 0 and -2 for embossing. It depends really on the design. Some designs are very, very intricate, and because they've got so much push and pull, they don't need to be quite as tight, where other ones need to be a little bit tighter because the design is more spread out, so there's just not as much pressure on it. So I would go anywhere from 0 to -2. We'll start at -2 with this and just see how it goes. So I'm going to get a piece of colored cardstock because hopefully you'll be able to see this a little bit better. It's always hard to see in the bright lights some of the details, but we're going to do our best. And I just label mine with a label maker so I don't have to keep packaging. And this is our tapestry, the Gina K Designs Tapestry 2D embossing folder. So I'm going to put this embossing folder in here, and I am going to send it through with the cutting mat on top. And I've got it set to -2 and 2D emboss. And I'm going to send that through. Yeah, embossing folders are my favorite too. I can't see your comments on my screen, but I do have my phone up. So every once in a while, if you see me look down, I have to see what you guys are saying or asking. Okay, so I want to show you this good impression. Let's see if you can see that. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Or can you see that okay, Heidi?
Yes, it looks beautiful.
Oh, okay, so that is a real nice deep impression. So then what I like to do, I have a label maker. I'm sure most of you do too, because organizing is another one of our hobbies, right? So I'll just take the label maker and I will just make another label that says 2D -2. And then I'll always know when I grab that embossing folder what the perfect tension on this machine is for this particular embossing folder. If you're worried about labeling and you don't have a label maker, you can always separate them by -2, -1, -0, and just all of these embossing folders -2 and put a little card in between them if you want to do it that way. But I feel like a label or even a Post-it note on the back is such a great way to remember what an embossing folder needs. It wouldn't look bad if I had it set right at 0. It just might be a little less deep. It'll still look good, just maybe not as deep. Okay, so that's a 2D embossing folder. Now we're going to move into 3D embossing. Some of my favorite embossing folders on the market, and we don't have any yet at Gina K Designs, but some of my favorite ones are the Simon Says stamp ones. They are absolutely gorgeous. They have them that have matching dies, and they have just beautiful, beautiful designs, and their designers are amazing what they do with them. But the one thing about the Simon Says stamp 3D embossing folders is they're a little bit thinner than some of the other companies. The impression is still just amazing. But here is a Sizzix one. This is a little bit thicker. So with the Simon Says stamp 3D embossing folder, I set mine to 2D emboss because it works better on 2D emboss. And then I move the dial up to 0 for this particular one. And then I don't use any top plate. And it's going to be perfect every time. So let me get another piece of cardstock here that I can use this. And you'll see how beautiful this looks. Okay. So no top plate, set on 2D, and my tension dial is at 0. So let's see. Okay. There we go. Look at that impression. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I am so blown away by this embossing folder too. This one is called, let's get the name of this because I know people are going to want to know. This is called Crimped Floral. And I think it's one of my favorites. It's absolutely gorgeous. So pretty for spring. You can do all those cool paste techniques and inking techniques with this one. And it's beautiful on the other side too for the blackout technique. Just beautiful. So you can see how great that one came out. Now, here's another one that I love from Simon Says Stamp, and this one is called Sparkling Facets. Now, this one, you're going to notice after you use it that it's 3-dimensional, but it's not as puffy. This has very puffy flowers. See how they puff out? This one has 3-dimension. It's got like facets, but they're not as puffy. And so when I hold these together, I can see that this one is just a tiny bit thinner. So it needs a little bit more tension. It's easy. I'm just going to turn it up to -2, and it's going to be great. I don't have to figure out how many cardstock shims to put in there. None of that. I can just turn that up a little bit, and I can make it just as deep and beautiful. And this is not exclusive to Simon Says Stamp embossing folders. This is every single company's 3D embossing folders. They're each a little bit different, and then they're all different from each other. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where when you get a new embossing folder, take some junk cardstock and just figure out the best tension and dial setting. Once you do, label it and you're good to go. So again, I'm going to send this one through. And see, I turned the tension up on this. It's a little tighter, but it's still going through a little bit easier. And there we go. Look at that. Isn't that a gorgeous folder? But you can see the difference in the height of the design. So we've got stuff that's a little bit more in the background here, and then the 3D, this puffs up. But look how puffy these flowers are. So they're all going to be a tiny bit different, and some of them will need a little more tension than others. So easy, though. Just turn it up, turn it down. If you ever are putting an embossing folder through and you can't turn the handle, just stop. Don't break your handle. Don't break your machine. Just turn the tension down. All right, now I want to talk about Sizzix embossing folders because I know a lot of you have Tim Holtz embossing folders and they're amazing. And Heidi, does he have any like new ones, or is there something going on with his embossing folders?
He just released 5 this week, texture fades.
Oh my gosh.
You want to show 'em?
Oh, okay. I don't
Yeah,
know whose screen.
yeah.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
your top down, Heidi, if you want to
My
show 'em
top
on your-
down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my
Oh.
top.
Heidi,
My top
Heidi,
is
you're
very
gonna do your
messy.
top down.
That's on me.
Well, maybe this is a good brief point for Gina to grab a drink of water. So we've got the new embossing folders by Tim Holtz are available at Simon Says Stamp this week. So Gina, that's a nice shout out. Here is
Oh.
one. I'll hold them close to the screen, but I don't have my reading glasses on. They're available at Simon Says Stamp.
Oh my God, they're
This
gorgeous.
one is my favorite. I was playing with it this morning. It cut this beautiful pattern. I don't know, is
Look
my
at
camera
that.
catching this?
Oh, it
'cause
is.
The camera in
That's
front of me is not
gorgeous.
showing me. And there's one more,
beautiful.
and
I love
yet
that
another.
flourish.
So yes, these are what
Wow.
Gina's using a Sizzix embossing folder right now in her machine. If you want to switch over to Gina Reed, they can see.
Yeah, so the one that I'm using here, again, this is an old one that I had gotten called Acorns. And so I'm just going to use a piece of orangey cardstock in here. Now with the Tim Holtz ones, the Sizzix ones, you do have to turn it to 3D because these are considerably thicker and they may not feel it. And even when you look at them, you might say, I don't know. But I don't know if it's the way the design works on the inside and how it meets, but you definitely need to turn your machine to 3D. And then what I'm going to do is turn this all the way up as tight as it can go. So I've got 3D, so the machine is a little looser in general, but then I'm going to tighten it up. So they're just a little thicker than the Simon ones, but the 2D, it just doesn't work the same way. You may be able to finagle your machine a little bit using 2D and turning it all the way loose, but I still feel like it's a little tight. So I like the 3D setting on this. So I'm going to run this through now. It's at the tightest setting and it's on 3D. And look at this beautiful impression. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that. And I want all the other Tim ones too. I got to get those new ones. 'Cause I love that flourish. I love the one you love, Heidi. They're beautiful. So that is just some simple tips and tricks when it comes to working with the 3D embossing. A lot of times people say, I'm trying to 3D emboss. What do I do? And there is a little bit of trial and error, just like there is with any die cutting machine, but a lot of it's taken out because you can immediately go to that 2D and tighten and loosen, or go to the 3D and tighten and loosen. So you're not dealing with cardstock shims. You're not dealing with any of that kind of mess. All right, now I want to show you something that you can do with the silicone mat. So the silicone mat is an add-on, but it's super cool. So I'm going to put my machine on 2D. So we're going back to 2D because this is going to give you more like a 2D embossed look. And then I'm going to take a cover plate. Let me find one here. This is our snowflake cover plate. I think this will give a pretty interesting look. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your platform, and then you're going to lay your cover plate on its back so it's blade side up. Then you're going to take a piece of cardstock. So I'll just do this piece of Tranquil Teal on top. If it makes you happy or you feel safer with it, you can always, the plate kind of doesn't move very much once you get it into place, but because you're going to put the silicone mat on top, you can always take a little masking magic and just keep it secure there. And then, well, see, I shifted the plate there. There we go. All right. Then I'm going to lay this silicone mat right on top, because what we don't want to have happen is we don't want the blade to make contact with something rigid like the cutting mat. We want it to kind of sink into something soft, so it's just going to leave an impression. And then we'll put our cutting mat back on top. Now, for the tension dial, For this, you can go anywhere from 0 to 2, because depending on how intricate the die is, if it's just, kind of like maybe a sunburst or something, it might not be so intricate. This is more intricate. So you might feel a little tension or pushback. Once I start running this through, if it feels like I can't get it through and I'm struggling, I'll lighten up on the tension. But this feels pretty good, so I'm going to go for it. All right, let's see what we have now. Okay, this is so cool. So can you guys see this? Can they see that, Heidi?
Yes. I mean, I
Okay.
can.
Yeah, if you want to
It'll
hold
take
it
a
up
few
little bit
seconds for
higher,
people
that'd be great.
Yeah, you want me to hold it higher?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. And it may not have been the best color cardstock. So this is a super subtle look. And let me do something to help you see it a little bit better. So I am going to just get a little piece of cardstock here. And then I'm going to get my Tranquil Teal ink pad, and I'm going to show you. Let's zoom in just a little bit here. I'm going to zoom in. Ooh, that's way too much. Sorry, guys. That was like a roller coaster. Okay, everybody take a Dramamine and stay with me. I'm going to just kind of rub this over the top. Can you see the design coming out now? Yeah. So you can see that you can get that cool impression. Now, this is the positive side, right? This is the side that, well, it's kind of, yeah, it's the positive side. It's the side that it made contact with. So you can see what that looks like. That's just a cool look. Now, you can also use the negative side of this. And this will create, you'll see all the blade lines then, if you like that look better. So two completely different looks from one die. See how interesting that is? Compared to this one, where it's catching all the raised areas. So it's not exactly like an embossing folder. It's a different look, but it's a cool look, and it's something fun that you can try with different cover plates and different interesting shaped dies that you have in your collection. Now, those of you that have better press plates, and those things are awesome, aren't they? You can use the same setting, this 2D, because it'll say right on there letterpress, which is what the Better Press machine does, is letterpress. So you can do the same thing with your Better Press plates and use them with the Intri-cut. And again, no shimming, no wondering why I'm not getting the impression. Yeah, just turn the dial up if you need a little more tension. Okay, so that's another cool look. Now, another supply that you have are your stencils, and there's so many cool stencils. And this is one of my favorite stencils. It's the Stellar Snowflake. And I'm going to show you a cool technique, and I'm going to actually make a card out of this. So I'm going to start by actually making a little bit of my card here, okay? So I'm going to get, let's see here, I'm going to get my scoreboard, and I'm going to back out just a little bit so I'm not quite so close. There we go. And I'm going to get a couple ink pads. So I'm
Gina,
going to
while you're
use...
doing that, I'm going to throw the
Yeah.
graphic back up on the screen real quick. A couple people are asking
sure.
what the offer is. It's a
Yeah.
free gift with a purchase. There's no code required. It is the Happy Birthday Present die. You qualify for it for purchasing $25 of Gina K Design product.
That's awesome. That's a great deal. I mean, $25 is not a lot to spend when you're getting a die that's probably pretty close to the value. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use some craft ink, and I'm going to ink up this piece of cardstock. I'm going to do like a wood graining technique on it. And the technique I'm going to show you, and many of you have seen this on my channel, but I know we have a lot of new friends and newer crafters. And even if you did see this before, it's going to remind you to use it. So I'm going to take this ink pad, and I'm going to just do some streaky lines, kind of creating the look of wood grain in this light color here. This is craft ink. And you see, I did kind of just, it's like real like splotchy, and I want it that way. I want it to look like wood, like the grain of wood. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my scoring tool and I'm going to score lines on the 1/4 inch marks. So this piece of cardstock measures 3.5 inches across. So I'm going to go to the 1/4 inch. I'm going to go to the 3 inch. I'm going to go to the 2.5. I'm going to go to the 2 3/4. Forgot about that one. Let's see. 2 1/4, 2, just all the way down on the 1/4 inch marks. You can also do 1/2 inch marks if you want, but we're kind of making boards. And once I get too close to the end, I do have to turn it, and I have to finish the other way because I can't get my hand in there. Okay, so now we've got these lines. You can probably see the lines a little bit better on this side. Let's see. See them in there? So I made those lines, but they sink down in on this side, okay? Now, I'm gonna take a little bit of this warm cocoa, just gently, and I'm gonna just do a little bit here just to accentuate those lines a little bit, okay? All right, so now we can see those little planks of wood a little bit better. Now I think I'm gonna do this one with, should I do this with the embossing folder first and then show you it with the stencil? Or should I go right for the stencil? I think I'm gonna do the embossing folder on this one. So I'm gonna use that tapestry embossing folder, and I'm gonna just pop this in here. And the thing that we wanna do is we wanna see where it's going to press into the design. So normally I label mine so that the impression comes up, right? So this is labeled so that when you put the cardstock in, you're going to get this look where the impression is raised. So I want to flip this around because I want my impression to sink down in. So I'm going to put this on upside down. And that's why it's kind of good to label your embossing folders, because it's always easy then to know which side is up and which side is down. And I'm going to send this through. I've got my machine set on 2D, and I've got my my folder. I'm going to put it right at 0. And I'm going to send that through. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is here I'm using a layering weight cardstock, where my last one I used a heavier weight cardstock. So that can have a difference in the impression, right? A thinner cardstock, that makes it a little looser in there. So I could turn this up a little bit to get a little bit of a deeper impression in that lighter weight cardstock. That's the beauty of this tension dial. All right, now hopefully I did this on the right side. So let's see. Did I do it on the right side? I think I did. So right now you see nothing. It looks like nothing. But here's the magic of the carved wood technique, and that's what I call this. It's going to look like carved wood. So now I'm going to go back with that same warm cocoa pad, and I'm going to increase some of that color. And then I'm going to go over it with dark chocolate. Check this out. Can you see what's happening? Now it's starting to look like carved wooden planks. Isn't that so cool? And the reason that we put that light color down and we wood grain is because if we had left that cardstock white, it would just look white. Now that's cool too, and that might be the look you're going for. But this looks like you cut this, you carved it with like a laser, and so it's still the wood color on the inside. It's just the dark wood has been lasered off, and you've got that beautiful design. So isn't that fun? And that's an easy technique to do with this. Now I can do this same technique using the stencil. Let me find that stencil. So here is the Stellar Snowflake stencil. This is a super fun stencil. So what I'm going to do now, once again, is I might do this a little bit differently. I might do big 1/2 inch lines. And I might start with a lighter touch here with my craft ink. So just a little bit of ink here. Not a ton. And I'll do 1/2 inch lines this time. Okay. So very light, just to change it to a tan color. And you could also start with a different color cardstock too, but I'm going to do 1/2 inch lines. So I'm going to go 3, 2.5, 2, 1.5, 1. And can I get my fingers in here? I think I can. 1/2 inch. Okay. So now with the stencil, we're obviously going to need to tighten things up because the stencil is super thin. Let's see. So we need the platform. Now with the stencil, we've got the platform. We've got the stencil. We're going to put our cardstock down. I want to make sure that I do it the right way here. I think we're going to put the cardstock this way because it's going to press down in there, right? We're going to flip it. We'll flip it this way. We'll see what happens. We're experimenting together. Then I'm going to put my cutting mat on top. Now let's find a spot on this that I want this to be. So I can kind of look at it. I want this stencil to kind of come in off the side and go right to the edge here. So that looks pretty good. So I can maybe put a tiny little piece of masking magic on here just to keep it in place. And then we're going to put the silicone mat on top. All right. And then we're going to put our plate on top. Now I do have this set at 2D, but I'm going to tighten it up a little bit because this stencil is very thin. And I'm going to send it through. Now, I don't feel a ton of pressure, so I'm going to go back just so I don't have to take it out and nothing will shift. And I'm going to take this tension all the way up to -5 and send it through again. See how easy that was? I didn't have to take it out and change the shim. Well, I say, look how easy that was. We don't know if it worked. We're hoping. Okay. So, all right. I did it backwards. Remember I was like up and down whether or not it was going to be in the right direction. I did it backwards, but we're still going to go with it because I want to show you what it looks like when you take a dark ink pad on top of this. It is pretty cool still. So here we're doing some wood graining down this way.
What
and
color
look at
ink
how
is that,
pretty that
Gina?
is. This one is warm cocoa. And look at how pretty that is on that snowflake. Now, the difference is I inked up the raised parts, but look how bright and vibrant that is. Isn't that beautiful? Now, we can make it look a little bit more aged by adding a little bit of turquoise in there, kind of a patina look. So I'm going to go in there with that. You can see how it's like just aging everything a little bit. And you get just a little bit of that blue in there. It's almost, it kind of greens it up a little bit and it just makes it look a little more aged.
Great technique.
But if we had done it on the opposite side, we would get this look. So here's the warm cocoa. So you'd get the negative look or the where it goes inward. But it's still really cool either way, right? So here the snowflake appears more white. It's kind of sunk in. And on this side, it's more dark, raised. You can feel the texture. And that's with your stencils. So think about how many cool stencils you have in your collection that you could, get started with right away. All right. So Heidi, do you need a break or do you want me to keep going? You need
I
me
think
to?
we're doing great.
Okay, awesome.
I'm going to
So
flash
now I
the
want to
graphic
show.
one more time just to keep everybody in the
Okay.
loop of what's going on today.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
have a couple of
Yeah,
questions to answer if you guys can all hear me okay. Good shot, Gina. People are asking if they can purchase this item individually in the store. No, this happy birthday exclusive die is only for this promotion. It's while supplies last. It is not available for purchase. It's only a free gift if you purchase $25 or more in Gina K design products at Simon Says Stamp. And I love that Gina is showing us how, while she cleans up her desk, I love that Gina
Yeah,
is
sorry.
showing us, no, it's good, how to stretch our supplies and how to make even our stencils into embossing folders. Spectacular.
Oh, thank you, Heidi. Well, it's always fun to be able to stretch the supplies you have. And, if you need any help shopping, because I love to help people shop, you can always look at some of these stencils that maybe you were thinking, well, I liked it as a stencil, but now that I know that I can use it as an embossing folder too, I get double the product for my money. You might want to look at some of these embossing folders, the tapestry embossing folder. If you don't have this one, I would say get this one. Tom, do the overhead real quick here, just so that this one, the tapestry one, I feel like this one is a must have. It's a gorgeous embossing folder for the holidays. It makes beautiful holiday backgrounds, but it's not holiday-ish. If you know what I mean. You can use this anytime. You don't have to use this for the holidays. So this is one that looks beautiful, just embossed kind of in a plain, subtle color like this. Get it in the right light here so you can see it. Beautiful like that. But then you can also do these really cool carved wood techniques and all the other techniques. And I'm going to use it again right now. So that might be one to think about. All right. So what I want to show you now, and Heidi, you and I were talking about this last night, and I think you did something similar to this. Maybe. I don't know what you did. I can't wait to see though.
Well, do you want us to show my camera and show what I did? Or do you just want to?
Yes. No, I want you to show
So
your
Gina and I did a Zoom last night to prep for class. This camera in front, Reed. Gina and I did a Zoom to prep for class last night, and she gave me the idea to do this card where I did a split technique. I think that's what Gina's getting ready to show you guys with a Simon Says Stamp the Stars 3D embossing folder. And I love that she gave me inspiration of what to make today. So I think she's going to show us how to do this.
I am, and I'm going to show you, since you did it with the 3D, I'll do it with the 2D. So I have two different 2D folders. I have the Swiss Dot. This is the Gina K Design Swiss Dot folder. And then I've already lost my other embossing folder, but you know how that goes, right? It's around here somewhere. And I have literally sent Tom at times to go get me another thing because I've lost it on my desk, or have asked him to come over here and help me find it. So Tom, if you think about it and you want to come over and help me find it while I work with the first one, that would be fantastic. So I'm looking for that embossing. How do you lose an embossing folder?
Are you looking for the tapestry one?
Yeah. Do you see
I wish
it?
I could hand you mine.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's been a very popular embossing folder with customers. I think when you launched it like a year ago, maybe, and it's consistently popular. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
well, here, Reed, show my screen because I need my front screen. So I showed you guys, Gina, while you're looking, I'm going to interrupt the regularly scheduled programming because you did show a Tim Holtz embossing folder. And I wanted to name the embossing folders from the vault that were just lost. Or just launched. This is called Gears. This is a Tim Holtz 3D embossing folder. This one is called, here, let me hold this one up. This one is called Diamonds. This is the one that I showed a sample with. This one is called Flourish. All of these embossing folders work with Gina K's Intri-cut machine. This one is called Lace. I hope I didn't miss one. But one of the reasons why I wanted to show these is because one of my favorite parts about Gina's Intri-cut machine is that it is so versatile that it works with, I haven't found any brand that it doesn't work with. It works with these leading brands and other brands you might have in your 200-year-old collection. Like she made the reference to the old plates, you know. So the great thing about the Intri-cut machine, that one of the many things I love so much about it, is that you can use it with lots of other brands. And that's a problem solver for a lot of us, including me. So Reed, if you're gonna get me off a screen and put Gina back, I'm sure she's got interesting things going on her desk.
I do. Okay. We found it. You know, it took Tom to come over and then it was right under something.
Thanks, Tom.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to do the partial embossing folder technique. And this way you can use more than one embossing folder on your design. So I'm going to start with that tapestry folder again, and I'm going to use a piece of our sun-kissed coral cardstock. Now, what you want to do when you're doing this technique is you just want to use the bottom of your embossing folder, okay? And then you're going to decide where you want to have your design go up to. You can go halfway up, you could go all the way up. Some people like to use their embossing folder down to like there, and then they leave this blank so they can actually stamp their greeting right on the cardstock, because you can't really do it over the embossed part. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one design at the top and one design at the bottom. All right, so I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to go to about there. All right, so now I've got my plate in here. I've got my 2D, and I go just about -1. All right, now some of you may feel most comfortable taping this down so it doesn't get lost or it doesn't shift. I like to use Masking Magic for that. Even when you use Masking Magic with embossing or die cutting, it won't stick to your paper. It won't stick. It doesn't leave any sticky residue, but you can use anything you want. And then I'm going to put my plate on top, and I'm going to send this through the machine. All right. I lose everything all the time. This happens to me all the time when I go live. So anybody here that's watching that watches my lives, that was not a big deal for them. They were just probably looking for it too. All right, so you can see here now I've got that embossing here just at the top, right? Okay, now I'm going to put the Swiss dot folder on the other side, and I want to make sure that, well, I have it labeled so that I know that the dots are going to come forward, and I'm going to put this on this side. Now for this one, I might want to turn the dial up a little bit. So I'll just make it a little more, give it a little more tension. I could probably have given the bottom one a little more tension too. And the nice thing is with embossing folders, you can go back and re-emboss if you want to have more tension, but we'll let it go. I think it's going to be fine. Okay, so now I've got dots at the top and tapestry at the bottom. I wonder if I could do that. I don't know if I can. Should I give it a try? Should I try to make it a little deeper? We could try it.
I don't know. I'm nervous.
You don't know? You're nervous? You're nervous? I'm nervous
These
too.
kind of things
but,
don't usually work out so well for me.
Yeah.
Like restamping without a stamp, but without a MISTI.
Yeah, it probably won't work out well for me either. But, you know, I'm going to give it a try because I'm just like that, you know? So I'm going to give it a try, and we're going to see what happens.
If anyone can do it, you can, Gina.
I have faith. I have faith. Everybody just hold your breath with me, and I'm just going to tape it down in there because I think I got it in the right spot. So we'll see. But I want to tighten it up a little bit because I just want a deeper, more robust impression. So I think we could do it. I think I got it in the right spot. We'll see. All right, here we go. We'll hope for the best. Is everybody else holding their breath?
Crossed.
Carrie Goldstein said it will probably work for Gina. Carrie, I love your faith in me. I appreciate that. I don't know, though. Yep, I think it worked.
It worked.
There we go. It worked. It
Yay.
worked. So I'm just going to remove the Masking Magic here. Let's get this off.
Melody, I
Masking
think Gina
magic.
makes her own luck. She's been doing this a long time. She's had a lot of
That was,
practice.
hey, if it wasn't for dumb luck, right, I'd have no luck at all. Isn't that the saying? Okay, so you know what? I'm not even going to worry about this masking magic because I'm going to trim this panel down anyway. All right, so we've got that beautiful impression. Now, what I want to do next is, you see the 2 lines that are left behind from the edge of the embossing folder? I love how delicate that looks, but I think I want it even bolder. I want to just have a little bit more bold there. So I'm going to get my score tool here, and I'm going to line that up. Let's see. First, I'm going to give it a little notch, a little nudge right here, just so I could see it on the other side. And then I'm going to line that up with any line. It doesn't matter what line. I'm going to line it up, and then I'm going to make a nice deep impression. So now you see, now it's got that nice deep impression in there. That's so pretty. And it's kind of just blocking out that middle a little bit. This would be a great place to put a greeting, some die cuts or whatever, but I think we're going to end up using this birthday die in here because that would be so pretty in there. And I love that color combination with the white up against that coral. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I can see the line pretty well on this side. Pretty well. It's right there. I'm just going to find a line to just give it a little notch, just so I can see it on the other side. And now I'm going to find any line, and I'm going to add that score line. So now I've made that nice and crisp on both sides. Now I'm going to trim this whole panel down, and you're never going to believe what I'm going to add to it. Black cardstock. I know you didn't know. So I'm going to take this down to 3.5 inches. Let me make sure my die is going to fit first. Yeah, I think that's going to fit just fine. And now I'm going to cut a little bit off the top here, and I'm going to take it down to 4 3/4 inches. And that is the equivalent size to our Master Layouts 2. So I could cut a Master Layouts 2 panel, or through the magic of TV, I could hope that there's one already cut that's going to fit perfectly. And there is. Ta-da! Look at that. That's a perfect cut right there. Okay. So that's another thing. I know a lot of people have been following along with my Master Layout series. So if you're one of those people, now you can get that free birthday die with a Master Layout set. So that might be a good thing to get too. I know Simon has a lot of that stuff because they carry our whole line. All right. So we've got that in place. I don't know if I actually put that down perfectly, but it'll be better than horrible. So now that's good enough. And I do have a white card base here, which I think is going to be beautiful framed out like that, and then to have that white birthday die on top. I just feel like that's such a simple and elegant look. So like Heidi did hers all in white, and then she's got hers in the bright colors. Did you do an ink blend fade over that, Heidi? It looked so pretty.
I used our holographic rainbows.
Ooh. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Card fronts.
I love that. So Heidi used holographic paper. I just have mine here in white, but I am going to just glue that right on top, and this is going to be a very, very simple, elegant card. And what I love about this is this could be a super fun die. You could use it for a kid's birthday card. You could use it just for like with a fun spots background or some of your alcohol inks, things like that. Can you imagine alcohol ink showing through? I've got a ton of different panels here, like, you know, any fun backgrounds that you do, it would just show through so beautifully. But it's also elegant enough that you can do it with an elegant background, just like this. So I'm going to use the Connect glue here, and I'm just going to put a few little dots on here. Okay. How we doing, Heidi? Are we doing okay with time? How much time do I have to make?
You're doing great, Gina. I think when we
Okay.
originally spoke, we said anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes is probably ideal if
Okay.
your audience seems very engaged. Speaking of your audience,
My audience.
200,000 subscribers celebration happened this week on Gina's YouTube channel, and she and Tom were a riot. I watched it myself. It was one evening this week, so you'll want to make sure that you check out Gina's YouTube channel if you haven't already. I mean, 200,000 subscribers. I bet a lot of our audience has already checked it out or is subscribing. But it's Stamp and Chat is Gina's series that she does live. You do that 3 times a week, don't you, Gina?
We do Tuesday night at 7 p.m. and then we do Thursday at noon. So we do twice a week, but then there's always something else fun going on like this. So I do get to go live a little more than just the 2 nights, but guaranteed the 2 nights a week. Yeah.
Well, a celebration of
So-
200,000 subscribers is great. It's really a testament to you and Tom and your hard work, and it's fun to watch you. It's educational to watch you. You give us great tips and tricks, or hacks, I think is what the kids call them these days. I know I hear Abby
Yep,
say
the hacks. The hacks. Yeah, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. We had a lot of fun with everybody the other night. It was really super, super fun. And we're really grateful because really, I mean, that party was about our subscribers, not about me. It's not me, it's them. That's why I get to do what I do, and I'm so grateful for that. So I think I'm just going to put a couple little gems on here that I think would be fun. And here's where I'm gonna go with our disco ball sequins. I love to make a mess with my sequins. And I'm gonna
Can we replay that in slow-mo? That was
Yeah.
insane. I loved it. Can you do
Wasn't
that
that
again on
fun?
the other side, Gina?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, do you have any more?
We're gonna bring some sequins in.
Oh,
There we go. It's fun, but you should see the mess I have to clean up at the end. They're everywhere. I mean, they're all over Tom in places that you wouldn't believe. All right. So let's add a couple. I think Tom just left.
he's such a
I
good
don't
sport.
think-
The card
He
he
is.
made with the celebration this week was extraordinary. I enjoyed every instant of it.
Oh my gosh. Tom, can you say hi to everybody?
Are you mic'd
Hi,
up, Tom?
everybody.
Yeah, he is.
Hello.
All right. So I'm just going to put a few little sequins there. I'm going to do this with my bad hand. So we'll see what happens. Actually, it is a little easier to put the dots down first when you're doing sequins and just let them sit for a minute to get a little more tacky. But, you know, we don't have all day. We're going to make this happen. So I think this is just a fun, cute little quick card. And I'm so glad that you got the die to me. The dies took a little long to get in, and luckily Heidi was able to overnight this die to me last night, and we're just so glad everything came in time for this fun celebration. So that's just, isn't that simple? So simple.
It's
All right.
beautiful. We have some other cards that we can pop up on a screen if you don't mind, Gina.
Oh my
So-
God, those cards are gorgeous. Yes, show them all.
So Reed's gonna pop some other ones. This one is by Callie Person. We sent her the die as well, and she created this lovely "Wish I Was There With You" happy birthday card.
Wow.
Nina Marie Trapani created this lovely gem as well. I love the happy birthday with
Oh.
gold cardstock.
Oh, look at that. I love that.
And Sherry Carroll, of course, with some violet,
Of
some blue
course.
in the middle, some purple. Happy birthday with ink blending. Great samples. And
That's-
I've got mine. Reed, I'm
To your solo.
wait, where is mine?
I'll let you find
Yours
it.
gone?
It's already gone, Gina.
No, see, I'm telling you, it's there. Just ask them; they'll
Oh,
find
it's
it.
here.
Ask the chat. They know
I'll hold
exactly where
mine
it
up.
is.
So credit to Gina because she inspired me of what card to make. I love imitating art. I like seeing what other people are making and putting my own spin on it. And so this card was a lot of fun to make. All of these things are using Gina K's Intri-cut machine. So you can die cut with it, you can emboss with it, you can use your stencils to emboss with it, you can use letterpress, better press. That's one of the pieces of magic with her machine. And I saw Kathy was chatting a little bit ago to congratulate Gina on 200K followers on her YouTube channel. Well, she said it best. It's all because of you guys that we get to do this. We just celebrate our 23rd birthday. Kathy said happy birthday to us too. So how fun that we have a happy birthday die here. Simon Says Stamp just celebrated 23 years. And again, Gina said it best. Thanks to all of you who are watching us that we get to have these milestones and these celebrations. So the fact that we get to involve you is fun, and we get to give you a free die with $25 of Gina K Designs purchases is just the icing, the cherry on top. So we're grateful and we're thankful, and because of you, we get to do this. So we'll put that camera back on Gina while I came in with my little excerpt.
No, I love that, and thank you, Kathy, because Kathy's always such a great supporter. Make sure you check out Kathy Zilski's YouTube channel too. She does amazing Simon Says Stamp kit videos, and she also uses a lot of Gina K products. So you certainly can get inspired by her videos on things to qualify for this free die, that's for sure. All right, so I'm going to use this snowflake and make a simple holiday card. One of the things I'm going to use for this is our holiday sentiment strips, and I'm going to show you just how to cut those out. So just going to pop that on a black layer and then onto a white card base because I feel like it's going to just make everything pop. These beautiful backgrounds look so nice against a white card base. And I should put my glasses on so I can see. And then all I'm going to do for this one is add a simple strip sentiment. So let's do that. I've got some of our holiday sentiment strips here, and these come in both white and black. You can foil them, and they're just so easy to use. So I'm just going to do Happy Holidays here. And once again, with the Intri-cut, I have to remember, turn my dial to die cut, and then I'm going to, let me get my cutting mat here. Now this is one of those times where, no, it's not. So this is one of those times where I like to put the cutting mat on the bottom because I'm doing some precision cutting and I want to make it easy to do. So I'm going to put my cutting mat down first, and my blade is going to go blade side down. So I'm going to take one of these little sentiment strip dies and pop that over one of these sentiment strips, and I'm going to secure it using a little bit of masking magic. Okay. There, just like that. And now I'm going to cut that out. Now this would be one of those good times maybe to have used the magnetic mat, and I can show that to you real quickly about how that works, but that was cut out pretty well. Now let me just show you, if I had used the magnetic platform, the magnetic mat, I would put my magnetic mat down. Actually, I put my platform down and then the magnetic mat, and then I would put my design here, and then my die would stick to it in place like that. And then it comes with a clear plate on top so that you can make sure that you can see through and make sure everything still looks good. And then you can go ahead. Oh, sorry about that. I have it set a little tight for this. So sounds like you got a drummer over there. That shifted a little bit. I think this paper might be a little thick, but oh, wait a minute. I've got this set all wrong here. Well, we'll do that later. I don't want to waste time doing this. I'll do it a little bit later, but you guys have seen me use the magnetic mat a bunch of times. All right, I'm going to pop this on here because I still want to make one more card because I promised a special card to Stephanie. And I have to get it in, Heidi. So you got to let me do it.
Girl, you're
Even if
doing
we
great.
go over 5 minutes. Even if we go over 5 minutes, I want to make it. All right, so this I'm going to pop up with just a couple little foam squares. I've cut these in half. These are the Gina K Designs foam squares. They come in 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. And then, let's see here. All right. I'm just going to pop that up here. And then you certainly could embellish this with whatever you want. I feel like, oh, let me do this for Heidi again. There we go.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So I feel like this would be really cool to accent the black a little bit in here. So maybe do one here. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. That's way too much glue. Let's just wipe that off. Just accent a little bit on these here. That one's hidden. And then we'll do, let's do this, 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 and this. And we'll do one in the center. And watch how this just like, it pulls all that beautiful, the black sentiment and the black outline. It really pulls it all in. So we'll pop that in the center. And then we'll do these tiny little black ones here just to accent. Got to turn them over. Oh, I don't, because I've sprinkled enough out. So we're just going to make like little elbow marks here in each of these little legs. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do these inside ones. 1, 2, 3, find one more that's upright. And doesn't that just like jazz it up so much?
Yes. And applying them is
I
like
love that.
craft yoga.
It is. It's so calming, isn't it? Just like to use the end of my pick and stick tool for any glue that kind of seeped out. But so there is a quick card with that one panel I made. I had to get that in. All right. And then I want to show you, I've got 2 die sets here that I really want to show you that I just love. It is our Thank You Trio and our Sunshine Trio. So I want to do a little sunshine embossing with one of our stencils. So I have this sunshine stencil here. It's called Swirled Sun. This one is so pretty and so fun. And I want to get a little piece of white cardstock. Okay, and then I kind of want to have like the sun just coming up like that on it. So I'm going to keep this right here. Now let me get all my plates together. All right, so I need my base plate. And then I need this stencil with this cardstock on top of it. Now, I want to use a little bit of masking magic to hold that in place because I don't want it to shift. And then I need the silicone mat on top of that. So I'm going to put the silicone mat in there on top. And then the cutting mat on top of that. Now we have to have this to 2D. And then I'm going to find my little cheat sheet over here. We're going to turn that up to -5. I'm going to just take that all the way to -5 to tighten it up. All right, so here we go. So now we're going to have a beautiful sunshine. I know you can't see anything here, but you will in a second. So there is the positive side and the negative side. I want to do both of these for you so that you can see what they look like. And let me get a different piece of cardstock here. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to use a yellow ink pad. So I'm going to go with wild dandelion. That is not wild dandelion. That isn't close to wild dandelion. That's wild wisteria. I'm going to get some wild dandelion, and I'm going to just rub this color all over here. Isn't this cool? How it's just not sinking down too much into the white. It's just catching all of those edges. Now, I don't mind a little bit in there. But I've got all of that beautiful sun. And the difference between using this just as a stencil and using it as an embossing folder is it's got texture. You can feel it. This is what it would look like on the other side. So now we're just going to catch the top rays, mostly. And we're going to catch all of that center. So which side do you guys like better? That's what I want to know. Which side do you think is better? This side or this side? It catches the lines a little bit where it sinks in, but on this side you get so much more vibrant color.
What do you like better, Gina?
I like this side better personally. I love to see what people say, but we'll see. Take a blending brush and a little bit of sweet mango ink, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of orange in here, just around here around the bottom, bringing that color up to make it look a little hotter, a little warmer toward the center, give it a glow. It feels a little more glowy. That's fun. Okay. And then I have this really cool die set called Hello Sunshine. So I pre-cut that, and I want to get that for you and show you. And I cut it with black, and then I did some pink too. So I'm going to just quickly put this together. Now you can either do, this is a 3-piece die set. So you've got this background here, and then you've got, you can put the letters however you want. You can put the letters in. So I'm going to put the letters in first and then put the sunshine on top. You can also do the sunshine behind and then have the bold letters, but I kind of like it this way. So we're going to do this hot pink here. Let's see how cute this is. All right. And it's pretty easy to line these up. You can see very easily where they're supposed to go on that outline, that shadow die. Very easy to put in place. It's nice when it's straight though. Oh no, let's get it straight. So what's one tip that everybody learned today? Did anybody learn anything new? I feel like I did, because even when you're doing these things, even when I'm doing them live, and even when things start, you have everything all labeled out a certain way, it's always so helpful to do something, and sometimes it's like, oh, I need to tighten that up, or I need to go tighter on this type of embossing folder, which yesterday maybe it felt different, but today I felt like I had to go a little bit tighter with one of the embossing folders. And now I'm going to go home and make my labels for all of my new Simon embossing folders that I just got in the mail.
I like your tip to label them, and I'm not afraid to write on mine with Sharpie. I don't know if that's a faux pas, but
Oh, I think that's a great idea. That really eliminates needing a separate piece of equipment, and it's not going to go away unless you want it to go away. You could just take a little alcohol and make it go away. That's a great idea, Heidi.
Lisa
I
really
used,
enjoyed watching you rub ink over the embossing with stencils.
isn't that fun? It's like magic, isn't it? It's so magical.
Engraved wood panel technique, that was new to Sylvia. Deb Catman, the stencil and embossing technique with a mat. Using 3D embossing folders correctly. Linda, I think that's a good note because that was really one of our goals, one of our big goals today is to show you how the Intri-cut machine can work with all different brands of those 3D embossing folders. And I'm so happy to hear that Gina is going to be coming out with her own line of 3D embossing folders soon too.
Yes, it's going to be very fun to have those. Also, I wanted to show you this. This is a thank you and a thank you trio. I love this one too. I was really debating which one to use, whether to use the thank you trio or to use the sunshine trio in a card today. But I wanted to show you how cute these die sets are because they're just fun. Like they're just so fun to use. And I do like cutting them in different colors, but I cut this one out just a few minutes before we went live. This one I had cut yesterday. So, you know, these are such cute dies if you're looking for some fun dies to use with your embossing folders. Because I do think when it comes to these big embossing folder techniques, you really don't even need to put a lot of focal image onto your card. You could keep the beautiful background design as the focal image and then just get some big greetings, whether they're big die cuts or big stamped greetings, and put them right on top, and it's all you need. Just like the free die that you're getting today with your purchase. Something like that is just all that you need to really make a card pop. All right, so we're going to assemble this card, and then I'm going to send this card to Stephanie.
Aw, she'll love it. She hangs them in her office. I love going in her office. She has of years gone by because Stephanie's been with us like 15 years. So she's got a beautiful collection of cards in her office. It always brings back happy memories. And you guys watching, there is something free that you can all do for us today. I think that if you hit the like button whenever you're watching one of Gina's videos and her Stampin' Chats or ours, it helps the YouTube logarithm when you like it or when you share the video with a friend. It's something that's really easy and simple for you guys to do. If anybody is looking for something to do, if people are like, I don't know, one more thing to do, but that is one way to help Gina, to help all of us. It keeps our crafting community lively, and YouTube likes that when we participate in the chat and when we like videos, and keeps us motivated to keep creating content when you guys like what we're doing because we get to do it for you.
Yes, and we appreciate that so much. You guys have no idea how much it just like do a little dance when you get a like, right?
Yeah.
So nice. All right, I'm using some 1/2-inch foam squares to pop this up because I want to have a little bit of dimension. And this one, I'm doing 1/4 and 1/4 inch right here. I know I could put more, but I'll put this in with some other things when I send it to Stephanie, so it won't get squashed in the mail. She's always so helpful. Stephanie is, well, you all know Stephanie, right? From Simon Says Stamps. She's amazing, and she is the Gina K Designs brand manager, right? Isn't that right?
Yep.
And so she makes sure that you guys get what you want as long as we can provide it for her. So don't yell at her if something's out of stock, because that's our bad. That's not her bad. That's our bad. So I think we're going to put just a couple little sequins on here. And then, yep. So I'm going to just put them like here so that they just fan out over these rays. I know it's a lot, but you know, why not? And if you have
especially for a card like this. Oh my, I can't wait to see them on there.
Yeah, it'll be so pretty and so glittery. And so sometimes with these little sequins, I do like to put the the dots on first, just let them sit for a minute till they get a little tacky, and then add the sequins. We've got a lot of ink on here too, so they might not stick quite as easily until that ink dries, but we're gonna power through. I'm just using our disco ball sequins, a very popular sequin because it goes with everything, and it's kind of a cool sequin because it picks up. We were just talking about these sequins last night, Heidi. They kind of just pick up whatever color is under them, which is fun and just gives it a little bit of sparkle and shine. And our brand comes in 2 different sizes. We have the regular disco ball sequins, which is this size that I'm using. And then we also have the micro disco ball, which are the real tiny ones, which are super fun to use too. But I might have to grab a few more here to get all the sizes that I need.
While you do that, Gina, do you care if I touch back on the promotion that we have today?
Oh, I definitely think you should do that.
Okay, Reed just put it on the screen. Thanks, Reed. Limited time only, free gift. It's this exclusive Gina K Designs die, the happy birthday little gift. Get this exclusive happy birthday present die free with any Gina K Designs purchase of $25 or more at simonsaysStamp.com. It will be added to your cart. There is no need for a coupon code, and I did see somebody ask in the chat if they could purchase just the die. It is not available for sale by itself. It's a free gift with $25 or more of Gina K, and that does include the ThermoWeb products that are Gina K branded as well.
And I also want to add to that, Heidi, if you don't mind, a lot of times when I do events and stuff, some of these things come out later on my website. This is not one of those things. This is just for now, while like you said, while the supplies last, and it's not coming back to Gina K Designs later. So if you want that cute little birthday, I would definitely do what you can to get it today. Okay, so here are just 3 little projects. There's a little bit of sparkle in there. It's so fun. And then this one with the split embossing, the partial embossing on both sides, and then that carved wood technique on this one. Boy, we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of things. We did the carved wood here. We showed your gorgeous 3D embossing folders, which you used in your card. Oh my goodness, we've got so much fun stuff. And then we showed Sizzix, we showed regular 2D embossing. This was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. I love doing this with you, and I love sharing the Intri-cut die cutting machine because it really does help. You're going to find too, if you have arthritis or anything else in your hands, it's such an easy die cutting machine to crank, and that's been a big sentiment among a lot of our customers who've gotten the machine, where they've started to think they needed to get a very expensive electric machine. They ended up trying the Intri-cut and feeling really good about being able to crank that with very, very little problem because it sucks to the table and the handle, it's just smooth. So
Smooth like Sunday morning.
yeah.
Here's my happy birthday card with the 3D embossing folder, dimensional stars. And this is the happy birthday present free gift with $25 of any Gina K Designs or more. And I just want to say, because I see some 23s in the chat, I started this business when I was 4 years old, so I am not quite 30, and Gina was too. We were 4 years old.
Yep.
So thank you, Gina, for, is there anything that you want to add before I always say toodaloo? So thank you, Gina, and thank you, Tom and Brian and Reed. Thank you, everybody, for bearing through my microphone issues, whether you knew it or not. We were back here getting our microphones fixed, and you guys have all been very patient and also communicative in the chat, telling us what you like and what you've learned and what's going on. This is what's so beautiful about joining live, is that we get to all connect together live. So Gina, I can't wait to see you again. Luckily I get to see you next week. That's going to be a special treat. And everybody who's joined us from all over the world today, thank you for joining us. I hope you learned some new things, some new hacks with Gina's Intri-cut machine. I love it. I use it all the time. It works great with literally everything. So toodaloo, have a great day. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.